and comets will become meteors. It will look insanely cool. We can unleash, basically. Yeah, we unleash like this and it's pretty crazy. Needed actually, you can just play pretty like normally. So as you can see, we're insanely tanky, aiming at tier 15 maps. Hail Exile! Yeah, finally I managed to create perfect skill combination with best passive skill tree, and now we're easily clearing tier 15 maps as Sorceress. However, unlike most of the Sorcerers you ever saw, our Exile is not only powerful but also extremely tanky. That's actually one of the biggest problems most Sorcerers got when they end campaign and go into end game. You meet minions and basically you can deal some damage, but when they come close, oh my goodness, you're dying immediately. Look what we can do. We can tank, and no, we're not dying like almost never. So let's destroy this annoying guys. He got shield, but I'm more powerful even without shield. And I'll run you through the setup that is insanely good for clearing content through the end game. And you probably hear because you saw a video about me explaining how broken Sorceress will be in this patch. And then you followed leveling build. So if you followed it, you can be in this spot in no time. To prepare yourself for our final form with elemental equilibrium, we will be perfect elementalist. And what will happen then? Something like this. Oh my goodness. Just unleashing. So, before reaching level 80, I run with this stuff, with +3 level to all spell skills. In my build, we're using 3 different elements: Arc, Ember Fusillade and Frost Bomb. It's lightning, fire and ice, therefore we need level of all skills, we're not focusing only on lightning, for example. And then at level 78 I switched into stuff with +5 level to all spell skills. That's what I'm running right now and clearing tier 15s easily. There is no plus level to all spell skills on Amulet, so it's far from perfect gear. And honestly, you don't need perfect gear for now. All you need is to have some nice energy shield on your equipment. So energy shield on your helmet, boots, body armor, gloves, that's it. All you need to do is to make your combination perfectly. So against basic enemies we're just using arc. There is like no hard science behind. You see enemy, you just pop your arc and that's it. But against more powerful enemies like this, like rare guys, you need to do combination, same against bosses. Combination is pretty simple. So we got 2 spells, Orb of Storms and Ember Fusillade. Orb of Storms will create orb and it can shock enemy, it can deal damage, but most importantly, when we cast Ember Fusillade while we are inside the orb, we will empower our Fusillade with Lightning Infusion. That's how it looks like, we're creating this Lightning Infusion, and now when we stop casting, all these Fusillades will unleash. And that's how it looks like, boom 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 boom, and both of them down. You can do it from the range. If you go scared, you can basically play pretty passively, and as you can see, from time to time we can change our form. Now I'm casting like a normal dude, but very soon I will transform into super scary person. And that's new tech for our build. So what I'm using right now is Elemental Archon. You deal more elemental damage with spells, at the same time more ignite chance, more freeze build-up, more shock chance. In order to be able to use Elemental Archon, you need to spec into your passive skill tree. And that's what I'm using. We're gaining Elemental Archon after spending 100% of maximum mana. So after we spend a little bit of mana, we can unleash, basically. Yeah, we unleash like this and it's pretty crazy. As you can see, I'm using Spark from time to time to have some fun, and yes, you can use Spark instead of Arc. However, right now Spark is not the best choice for our build. I will explain you why in a second, but for now, a little bit more basics. So, if enemies are extremely powerful, like bosses for example, like really powerful bosses, or maybe there's some like rare enemies who's pretty like powerful, then you want not only to make combination of Orb of Storms and Ember Fusillade, but also you want to add a little bit of penetration to your build. So penetration will be added in form of exposure and curse at the same time. Exposure comes from the Frost Bomb and curse from curse basically. Frost Bomb right now with potent exposure to get more exposure, magnified area so it covers more area, cooldown recovery so we can cast it more frequently, and long fuse so it stays for longer. Because the longer it stays, the more exposure it will be able to apply. Same goes for elemental weakness. We got heightened curse to increase power of this curse, efficiency because it costs loads of mana, so I don't want to lose all my mana, cursed ground, so it stays on the ground and basically this ground becomes curse. We don't need to aim a lot, just put it on the ground and it will work. Ritualistic curse to give this curse more area. Now let's look on the boss. So that's how boss fight will look like. We're basically putting down the curse, we're putting frost bomb, we're starting Ember Fusilade, and we're unleashing. And rinse and repeat basically. So if you do it perfectly and you stay nearby the boss, you can do like defeat him insanely fast. But it's not needed actually. You can just play pretty like normally and stay away and defeat him like that. As you can see, pretty powerful, and again, you can get even better gear and be even more powerful at tier 15 maps. So that's the combination, and that's it. So there's no damage amplificators. There's like loads of other skills like Archmage, other stuff, but we're not using any of them, since we got more than enough thanks for our passive skill tree. It got changed. So while leveling, we focused mostly on damage, everywhere, damage. Right now, we're investing into different parts, and also we're adding second weapon set. So look, weapon set number 1 will be for all our damaging spells, and weapon set number 2 goes for Frost Bomb and Elemental Weakness. So weapon set number 2 will go into Potent Exposure, so it's more powerful, and also into Curse, so Curse is more powerful with more duration, and weapon set 1 will go into this place, increase damage with hits against enemies affected by elemental ailments, and increase chance to inflict ailments against rare and unique enemies. It helps us versus bosses a lot. And also we invested a little bit over here. Make sure you're using this node as a double weapon set, so basically as basic passive point, and it's done to have similar amount of points in both sets basically, and it will give us ability to use this Flame Archon. That's it. I switched to this tree after level 80 or so, and of course we're investing into Energy Shield right now at the same time, so not only into damage, but also into Energy Shield, a little bit of casting speed. I will leave a link in the description with my character. They will be passive skill tree, but you will see loads of mana regeneration nodes beside Energy Shield, so there's loads of like extra stuff. And this extra stuff is mostly to get more mana regeneration for Mind Over Matter. Yeah, Mind Over Matter is just insane, and probably why you're feeling squishy is because you don't have this node. I know loads of mages like to stack Energy Shield and go into Chaos Inoculation, so you have protection from Chaos, basically like you're immune to Chaos damage. But this will lower your life. Right now we get 1200 life, and we're achieving basically two things by going into this node. We're getting not only Energy Shield as protective layer, but also life and mana. So in my case, it's almost 3k additional effective hit pool. It's just insane. So half of Energy Shield is our effective hit pool. And another cool part, that unlike Energy Shield that you may lose and basically you will like die pretty quickly, even if your mana is damaged, so let me just take a little bit damage, you will regenerate it insanely fast. So unlike like health regeneration, mana regens really fast, and it's just insane how fast it can regenerate. At the same time, we're using support gem Mana Remnants, so basically died enemies will leave mana remnants, it will heal us instantly. We can get these remnants a lot, and they can have double efficiency, stuff like that. So as you can see, we're insanely tanky even at tier 15 maps, and I can even not fight with these guys. But coolest part, that I'm using utility belt. It's super important to have utility belt, and it's very nice to have flasks either with amount recovered or with instant use. So instant use for flasks is super useful, and we can just pop flasks and regenerate full mana or full health in matter of 0.5 seconds. You just spam the button and that's it. And here we are, we're basically unkillable. Yeah, unlike most of mages, we're completely not squishy, and that's insane how protective we are. Now, for support gems, for other skills, again, it's pretty easy. For Arc, we're using Unleash, Deliberation, Zenith, Rapid Casting to cast faster and stronger, and same goes for basically all other skills. So there's like no tricks in here. For support gems, we're using Arctic Armor to have like better protection when we get hit. It's also nice for our defensive layer right now. And Siphon Elements. Siphon Elements will give us ability to create additional remnants when we freezing, shocking, or igniting our enemies. And if you saw my previous video, here's the idea of the build. We're going for refracted infusion. When collecting an elemental infusion, gain another different elemental infusion. And at the same time, we're going for elemental equilibrium. So whenever we will create lightning infusion, we will create cold instead. This means instead of arc, we can switch to spark and start casting sparks, but they will be with loads of cold infusions. All we need to do is to shock our targets with spark, and this will create infusions and basically will make our sparks a lot more powerful. So why I'm skipping this style right now? It's pretty simple. The style we're running right now with Arc, Ember Fusillade and Orb of Storms is extremely simple and useful. You can even go with combination of using Orb of Storm and then just casting your Arc, because Orb of Storm will give you Lightning Infusion and you will cast your Arc with Lightning Infusion, so we will be really powerful. But if you go for Spark right now, there is like slight problem, I would say, even though it's looking cool and it's definitely working. We're getting these ice infusions from time to time and we like spreading insanely powerful arcs. Right now our character does not have enough power. So that's it, just not enough power. To actually being able to use Arc as our main clearing spell and also ability to shock enemies constantly and then use this elemental equilibrium for full potential, we either need investing into this chance to shock nodes over here instead of spell damage and projectile speed, and also a chance to fire additional projectiles. It really helps even Arc because it's projectile right now, and at the same time we will have less points to invest into actual damaging nodes, or even we won't be able to afford this extra mana and mind over matter for ultimate survivability. So what to do right now? Right now you need to prepare and basically run this build and get some currency, because you will need a little bit of currency if you want to transition into next stage. More on that later. Also I discovered how it works. Basically we create these lightning infusions from Orbs of Storm, and a refracted infusion should gain another different elemental infusion. So technically we should have chance to get fire or ice. Instead, what we're getting, fire on ice. So as you can see, it's pretty stable. That's why it's really powerful for our build, but actually later. So with elemental equilibrium right now, if we take it exactly right now, instead of lightning infusions, this ball will create cold infusions. We collect them and they will give us cold and lightning infusions. Right now it's cold and fire and lightning. So yeah, it technically works, and if you want to play elemental equilibrium right now, basically that's how it will look like. Instead of using Arc, you will use Spark by dropping balls and shooting your sparks. For me again, main problem is just not controllable and not enough damage. So it's actually pretty slow and you will farm slower. Still, it's playable, it's viable, and it looks like this, but half of the arcs actually sparks going into random directions. So if I will use just arc instead, look, we just drop balls, Ember Fusillade, few arcs, balls, Fusillade, arcs, and we basically clear this stuff a lot faster and a lot more convenient. To scale into the next build, we want Spark to constantly shock enemies and also freeze them if possible. And also we need custom elemental ailment for this. So let me remove Arc, and we're dropping custom elemental ailment with bunch of support gems. And if you will try to switch into this build a little bit faster than you should, to run it, by the way, we need Wand in one hand and Scepter in another to hit spirit limits. That's where we will find ourselves. We will find ourselves in a world where we're not gaining any benefit on custom elemental ailment. So as you can see, we're getting basically 0%. Right now it's a 2. It's just very hard to like get any power for this skill. The secret is, again, we're not kinda inflicting loads of elemental ailments right now, or they're insanely weak. So this also contributes to our power. We will try, we can. But that's basically how it will feel compared to what I showed you previously. It looks cool, but it deals like basically 0 damage right now without a slightly better gear. But when we achieve just a little bit more power, that's how this build will look like. We will be able to shock enemies constantly, get lightning and ice infusions and drop comets, instantly removing everyone from existence. And comets will become meteors. It will look insanely cool. So if you want to play like this crazy elementalist who run and gun with Spark, melting screens of monsters, bosses, and everyone who we encounter, All you need to do is subscribe and wait for the next few videos. In the next video we will craft perfect gear for our build. It will be pretty cheap, I hope. We'll make some cheap crafts. And then I'll post finalized, uber powerful and insanely fun Sorceress build. So stay tuned and see you in the next ones.